Hi, it's Annette at needlepointers.com. Mug rugs have quickly risen in popularity over the past few years, and I have thoroughly enjoyed making this new trend. With Valentine's Day fast approaching, I wanted to sew a fun mug rug to celebrate and enjoy the holiday. Today, I'd like to show you how to make an easy strip-pieced heart mug rug. The supplies you will need to sew the heart mug rug are assorted scrap fabric, white background fabric, backing fabric, cotton batting, ruler, rotary cutter, and cutting mat, scissors, sewing clip or pins, sewing machine, and a blind hem or edge stitch foot are optional. Let's begin by making the heart block. What you will need to cut from the assorted scrap fabric are 4 pieces 1.5 inch by 5.5 inch, 2 pieces 1.5 inch by 3 inches. From the background fabric, you need 2 3-inch squares, 4 1.25 inch squares, 2 pieces 1.5 inch by 5.5 inches, and 2 pieces 1.5 inch by 7.5 inches. We are going to begin by sewing the bottom section of the heart together, and throughout this tutorial we will be using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Also, if you want to see a photo step-by-step written tutorial, we will have a link in the description and also in this video to a page on our website. Gather the 4 1.5 by 5.5 inch strip pieces and put them together in the order that you would like them to appear on the heart. We're going to be sewing along the long sides, and then after they're sewn together, we will press the seams open. After it's sewn together, the piece should measure 4.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Get the 3-inch square pieces, and with a pencil, draw a diagonal line on each piece. What we're going to be doing is we're going to sew each piece on separately. You're going to place the first piece in the bottom right-hand corner with the diagonal line going towards the center of the striped piece. We are going to sew directly on that diagonal line. Here you can see I've sewn the first square onto it. Now what we're going to do is we are going to trim 1/4 inch from the seam, open it towards the outside like this, and we're going to press the seam open. Repeat what you just did with the second 3-inch square, placing it again on the left-hand corner, and diagonally the line will go towards the center, and we're going to sew on the diagonal line, again trim it and press the seam open. The bottom section of the heart is finished. Now we need to make the top, and what you will need is your 2 1.5 by 3-inch rectangles, and also the 4 1.25 inch squares. To sew the top of the heart, what you need to do is first, on the wrong side of the background fabric, draw a diagonal line from corner to corner. Then we're going to use the same process that we used before when we made the bottom section of the heart. We are going to place the squares, but this time in the top corners, and the diagonal line is going towards the center of the rectangle. we're going to sew along that line. Again, trim, but this time we're going to press the seam towards the darker fabric, and we're going to make 2 of them. Here you can see I completed the 2 units, the front, and this is what the back looks like. Now we're going to sew the 2 units together along the short side to create the top of the heart, and we're going to press the seam allowance open. Now it's time to sew the top and the bottom of the heart together. After sewing them together, the heart should measure 5.5-inch squares. Next, we're going to attach the borders to the heart. Sew the 2 1.5-inch by 5.5-inch to the sides. Press the seam towards the border. After you've done that, sew on the 1.5-inch by 7.5-inch, and again press it towards the border. The heart block is complete. I like my mug rugs a little larger because I like to put a cup of coffee on them and also a snack. So we're going to add some more fabric to the one side. What you need to do is, from your scrap fabric, again, cut 3 pieces, and they are 2 inches wide by 7.5 inches long. Arrange them in the order in which you would like to place them, and then we're going to sew along the long side. Again, we're using 1/4 inch seam allowance, and we're going to press all the seams in one direction. Here I've completed the strip unit, and the next thing, we're going to sew the unit to the right side of the mug rug. And after you've done that, press the seam towards the strips. The mug rug top is complete. All that is left is to quilt and bind. To quilt the mug rug, create a quilt sandwich. Cut a piece of batting 8 inches by 13 inches. Also cut the backing fabric, or make a scrappy backing as I did, that measures 8 inches by 13 inches. Lay the backing fabric with the wrong side facing up. Then place the batting on top, smooth out any wrinkles, and then place a well-pressed mug rug on top, right side up. Pin the 3 layers together. Then quilt as desired. You may be wondering how I quilted it. What I did was I drew a 45-degree angle line with a pencil on it. Then I sewed along that line and sewed about 1 inch away diagonally all the way across the mug rug. After quilting, trim the backing and batting even with the mug rug top. Now I'm using my smaller quilter slide ruler because it's so easy to hold all the layers in place and then cut them. And the layers do not move when you press down on the quilter's slide lock. Trim all the way around. The final step in making the mug rug is to make the binding and put it around the outside. What you will need is a 2.5-inch wide piece of fabric that is at least 50 inches long. But if you really want to do a scrappy project, you can make your binding scrappy by just cutting some fabric and sewing it on the diagonal like I did here. We do have a video on how to sew binding strips together, and I'll have a link in the video and also in the description. Once you have your 2.5-inch wide by at least 50 inches long, fold it in half and press it. And then it's time to attach it to the mug rug. To sew the binding to the mug rug, turn the mug rug so the back side is facing up, and we're going to begin on one of the long sides. You're going to begin not exactly in the center, a little off-centered. You place your binding, aligning all the raw edge of the binding with the raw edge of the mug rug. And the fold should be facing towards the center of the mug rug. You're going to begin to sew using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And when you get to the corners, you're going to miter the corners. I am not going to show you how to do that because we already have a video showing how to miter corners, but you'll miter the corners and go all the way around it until you get back to the starting point, but we're going to be leaving a gap, and I'll show you how to connect the two ends together when we get back there. So let me sew around it, and I'll be back in just a little while. I forgot to mention, when you first start to sew the binding on, you should leave a tail that's about 5 inches, 6 inches long. And then you're also, of course, leaving a gap between the starting and where you end, and you're leaving a gap again about 5 or 6 inches long. Now I'm going to show you an easy way of connecting the two ends together. What we are going to do is we're going to take them and we're going to lay them or back upon themselves like this. This is the one, and we're going to iron it. We're going to do the same thing with the other end and butt them up together and iron that. Then we're going to take it and open it up with right sides together. We're going to put the two creases, you're going to join the two creases together. Here's the one crease, and here's the other crease, and you're going to pin those together, and then you're going to sew along the crease line. And I'll show you what that looks like when I'm finished. As you can see, I have them sewn together. Now, before you trim them and finger press the seam open, let's make sure that it's filling in the gap properly. So just take it and make sure that it's filling it in. If it is, then you can clip it and you can finger press it open. And then we're going to sew it on between where the gap is, sew it onto the back of the mug rug. Now let's press the binding away from the mug rug. Flip the mug rug over, and then use your sewing clips or pins to attach the binding to the front of the mug rug. When you get to the corner, you're going to miter the corner. And clip it in place. Do that all the way around the mug rug. To attach the binding to the front, you're going to edge stitch close to the inside fold. And I like to use my blind hem stitch. You could also use the edge stitch foot. Why I like this foot to use, it has a little guide here in the center, right there, you can see it. And I butt this guide up against the fold to stitch. And when you do that, let me attach it, you move your needle to the right. Now, when you begin to do this, you should begin at a corner, and you stitch all the way around. And as I said, I like this because I can butt this little bar or guide up against, and it stitches very close to the edge because I moved my needle over a little bit to the right. So I'm going to continue to sew all the way around, and we'll show you what the finished product looks like. I finished stitching the binding onto the mug rug, and let me bring it up close so you can see what I mean by edge stitching. I really enjoyed making this project, and it cost me absolutely nothing because I used all the scraps for the front, the binding, and the back that I had in my scrap bin. Here is another heart mug rug that I made. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make the heart mug rug and decide to make one for yourself or to gift to someone special. Please like and share this video with family and friends. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss future videos. Help us by sharing our videos on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. Visit our website, needlepointers.com, for lots of free sewing projects and quilting projects. While you are there, sign up for our weekly newsletter so you don't miss upcoming videos and tutorials.